You're watching Saturday Anime on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Greetings, this is Reverend Paul. You know, I was working on this week's video, and I was going through all the questions that I have, and I came upon this question from Mr. Nameless. As I'm looking at Mr. Nameless's question, I figure, you want to know what? This question kind of deserves its own video, because it's a topic that's in the news, and I think it's worth talking about. So, with that said, Mr. Nameless writes, "Hey Studio Chojin, just wanted your thoughts on this subject. After the death of Kentaro Miura, many people were split on whether or not his series Berserk should continue. What do you think? I feel satisfied where it had ended, and whoever is going to take over will face a lot of backlash. Thanks again." Thank you, Mr. Nameless, for sending me that question. Recently, it's just been announced that the Berserk manga will continue. If you're not aware, last year, very sadly, Kentaro Miura, the creator, artist, writer behind Berserk, very tragically passed away, and there was a question that was left up in the air as to what was going to happen to Berserk. Was the Berserk manga going to remain unfinished, or was another team going to finish it? But a couple of days ago, Young Animal and Hakusensha, the publisher of Berserk, announced Berserk will continue. Now, if you look at some of the media reports, they are a little misleading. I retweeted this report from IGN that basically says Kojimori, an artist and personal friend of Miura's, was left in outline, and Studio Gaga, Miura's assistants, are basically going to take this outline and whatever notes Miura left, and they are going to finish Berserk. But that's not exactly what is happening, because according to the articles I've read, Kentaro Miura never left an official outline. He died very suddenly, so Miura did not leave any kind of plan or outline for how Berserk was going to be finished. It seems like Kojimori is an artist who I'm not familiar with. He did a manga called Holy Land that I've never read, but evidently he's an artist, and I guess through the course of their friendship, through the course of their personal conversations, when they're out playing pool or at the strip club or whatever, Miura just happened to say to him, "Hey, you know, Koji, what I'm planning to do with Berserk is I'm gonna have a horse get possessed by a demon and get really horny," you know? And then Koji's like, "Oh, wow, that's awesome." It seems to me, especially when you read the quotes by Kojimori, when he says, "I'm only going to include what I could remember him telling me," you get the impression that this is not an official team. This is just kind of like a personal friend of Miura and Studio Gaga, which is basically Miura's art assistants, basically saying, "Hey, we got a bunch of notes over here, and Koji's got some stuff that Kentaro told him. We could put something together." That's what I'm getting. They're trying to sell it as this, like, we're finishing the vision of the creator, and it's really just kind of a Frankenstein hodgepodging of what one guy could remember and whatever notes they have in their office. And like, look, I have mixed feelings about this whole thing. On the one hand, I am happy Berserk is going to live on. And look, if information comes out that Kentaro Miura wanted this creative team to finish Berserk, I think that's great. I think continuing the series and having the series live on is a great way to honor his legacy. Kentaro Miura is now up there with artists like Osamu Tezuka and Takao Saito. Miura's character Guts is going to live on forever, just like Astro Boy and Galgo 13. So I think that's great. But, you know, there is a part of me that is not completely comfortable with the idea of like a corporation just coming in and taking a man's life's work and saying, "Well, you're dead now. Now we're going to take it and make money off of it. We're going to do what we want with it now because we have control of it." I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with that idea. Like, I wish we had an idea of what Kentaro Miura would have wanted. Harlan Ellison, I believe, very famously said before he died, he wanted to have all his unfinished manuscripts destroyed. Harlan Ellison didn't want anybody else touching his work but him. And I'm not saying that's what Kentaro Miura would have wanted, and I'm not saying Harlan Ellison was right in feeling that way. I'm just saying that I think an artist should have some kind of say over how their work is being used. And obviously, if they're dead, if they don't leave a will or they don't tell anybody what their wishes are, it makes it very hard to know what they would have wanted. wanted. I guess I just want to make that clear. Berserk is a series that we all love, but at the same time, it's also the life's work of a man. A guy no different than you and I dreamed this stuff up. And his wishes should be respected, and it's a shame that we won't know what his wishes were. And I think Mr. Nameless makes a great point. I think a backlash is inevitable, and I don't know that finishing Berserk is going to make more people happy than not finishing it. So I think if you're gonna finish Berserk, you should have a really good reason to do it other than you just want to make a lot of money. But I think, at this point, the best we can do is hope it's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Anything that brings us more Berserk, I think is great. I'm hoping these final chapters are awesome. I'm kind of out of date with Berserk. I lost track of what was going on. But honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I don't even need an official ending for Berserk. Because as I've stated before, the definitive Berserk story is the Golden Age story arc. That has everything. Everything that comes after the Golden Age story arc, in my opinion, is just the icing on the cake. Because I feel like the Golden Age story arc is Miura's magnum opus, and it encapsulates everything that is great about Berserk. So while I'm looking forward to these newer chapters, as a fan, I feel satisfied. And while I appreciate Miura's assistance and Kojimori trying to finish Berserk, I don't need the story to have an official ending for me to keep enjoying Berserk. So I want to thank Mr. Nameless for sending me the question. Feel free to let me know what you think. Are you looking forward to more Berserk chapters? Do you feel like nobody but Kentaro Miura should be touching Berserk? I don't know that there's any easy answers here. So with that said, this is Reverend Paul saying, until we meet again.